Namaste and welcome to Bhoom of Bharat with Rama Shiv Kumar, founding CEO, SRK Game Changers, where we bring you a new update each week on GCC. SRK Game Changers is a GCC consulting services organization providing advisory, governance, and setup services across talent, business operations, and workplace solutions. We deliver customized, high performing global capability centers that encourage AI and digital innovation. We recently did a setup of an AI innovation lab for a banking and insurance company. We leverage the expansive skill talent pool and create next generation leaders who are part of the corporations. Our tailored workplace solutions build technology as a core foundation. Thank you so much for your encouraging remarks and the feedback on the uniqueness of podcast and the themes we choose to discuss with our guests. Today, again, we have a very special podcast theme: secure growth. Why GCC should choose India, a conversation with Ashutosh Sharma, head of Checkmarx India Development Center. Ashutosh Sharma is an MD of Checkmarx India. He joins Bhoom of Bharat to discuss why security, trust, and capability matters can capture the next wave of US and European GCC's investment. So, welcome, Ashutosh, to our Bhoom of Bharat.
Thank you, Rama, for having me on your podcast. It's a privilege for me to join you in this thing.
And so, first of all, Ashutosh, congratulations on the Maharashtra Corporate Icons Award 2025. I would also, briefly request you to introduce yourself for our audience.
Sure. My name is Ashutosh. I come along with 20 plus years of experience. Fortunate enough to work into the product development lifecycle, all phases of product development lifecycle. I think I have already worked with most of the product companies throughout my career. Proven expertise in driving strategic growth, innovation, team development in cybersecurity and technology industry. This is what my forte is. I've managed three global capability centers from India. One is Vietnam, Philippines, and set up a center in Argentina. Professional experience, I'm currently heading the India Development Center for Checkmark, driving technical and operational function across R&D, product, customer services, support, and the HR and the support function of the finance as such. Prior to this, I had worked with Amazon for almost 2 years. And then before that, I was heading one of the fintech startup in India, and I spent around a decade plus in Amdocs. So that's what I do. In my free time, I'm try to work with the various universities. I'm a part of their members mentor group as well, where I'm trying to bring the collaboration between the academia and the corporate world. From education, I am Ahmedabad alumnus. Worked with them, and I've done my MBA in systems. Graduated my engineering from Pune University. That's something which I want to just about me.
No, no, thank you so much. And it was really lovely first time when I requested you, and you were like, so kind enough to come to our podcast and talk to our guest. And the theme is also very different. So first of all, after getting this award, how has your thinking changed in terms of the vision for the GCC excellence post this award?
So I would say it's same. I feel that now the GCCs are being recognized. India being a capability center, it was from long time it was there, but yes, now Indian government and everyone realizes that okay, yes, we do a lot of value addition to the companies and to the job market as such. So that's what I felt. And being recognized for the Maharashtra icon was something which I did from the collaboration with the academia and the corporate world, where I felt these are the guys who are going to be work with us, right? So why not to work with them to make sure that the next generation workforce which is going to be with us are already the one which is not starting from zero, at least starting from one or two level. That's what I I feel that has brought a change into me, and the
I
award
also
has grown.
see, yeah, I also see that apart from the award, there's a lot of changes which, as a company in Checkmarks that you brought about. So, what were the three critical success factors do you think you made a change and it's important for people to understand who are trying to set up GCC?
So first of all, if you ask me, the important was the getting the right talent with the positive attitude in. That's the biggest thing. The biggest asset for any of the capability center is the people which we are there working with. So building a strong foundation and rest will be taken care. That's what I felt. So my motto was to get the right talent in to make sure that we have a strong foundation. That was the first success factor. Secondly, to bring once the team is in to have a cross-functional collaboration to drive outcomes. So it should not be that okay in the capability centers, still the teams are speaking in silos, right? So that's something which does should not work out. So that was the second factor where I felt that the cross-functional collaboration should be there. And the important one was the clear strategic alignment and the customer-centric focus. So each member, right, irrespective of which designation, which role and responsibility that person is playing, the customer centricity is very important because that's what give you the pride in whatever you are doing it, and that's what I thought. These were the three areas. Apart from that, I think the other important factor which I would add is the continuous learning and adaptability according to the changes which is happening into the scenarios.
No, you rightly said it is, the learning has to be kind of there. And I was if you see, in the GCC, the leadership or the GCC leaders play is very different because one, you be dealing, where with the talent. Second, you're also kind of working with the larger multinational corporations. So that is very important stuff. And you've been like I would say on the cybersecurity, especially from a vantage point of view, what things have changed in the GCC if you look at cybersecurity? Any examples or so you may want to share with our audience?
So one thing which I would say in general about the GCCs in India, the perception which was created earlier, right? It was like a pure delivery centers. Now that has been changed. Now the GCCs in India is taking the end-to-end ownership versus the pure delivery which used to happen earlier. Now, from the cybersecurity point of view, or in general the security, I would say the cost centers to risk owning product org. That's what I would say. The GCCs are not only the one which is just following the sun ops, right, which was happening earlier. Now we are building the own platforms. There's shift full security left. So earlier it was like left to the headquarters to take care of the security and the compliance, and we were just focusing on the delivery. So that has changed. So couple of things which I would say is like security by default engineering is the term which we normally use. Is it's not that okay you have to work something and then you focus on security. No, by default whenever you are working on any of the platform and this thing, the security is always at the back of the mind. The term DevSecOps, right, which was something which was being used, is going in actually being implemented right now. I could see a lot of companies, a lot of GCCs which are there. They are not using only the term; they are actually getting into the reality of those things. Zero trust moves, right? Which was shown into the presentations earlier that okay, this is what we do. It actually getting enforced into right now. The other thing which has been happening across the industry is the AI and Gen AI's implementation, right? So that comes with a lot of responsibilities because it opens up a velocity of attack surfaces, right? So GCCs are being tapped to define secure LLM patterns, which is most important because uh, that's where the developers and any of the members who are working in GCCs are focusing on. So we are coming up with the AI for code reviews itself, with the triage and this thing. So this will be making sure that the GCCs are themselves doing the guardrail to avoid the data leakages across the what was happening earlier.
I think you got a good point about AI, Gen AI. So as India is moving towards or accelerates its journey towards, digitally sovereign future, apart from you mentioned about, R&D, you mentioned about innovations. So we do see that happening in the larger cities. You talk about, Hyderabad, you talk about Pune, you talk about, the other locations which is there. How do you see that coming up in the tier two cities? Any kind of, you have seen that differently?
So GCCs are transforming into the strategic innovation hubs, right? So we have talked about driving digital transformation and resilience. So as you rightly pointed out earlier, it was like only focused on the tier one cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Mumbai, and Delhi. Right now, they have been focusing on the tier two cities as well, right? So I won't. Uh, Though Pune is being considered as a tier one or tier two between, I'm still there is a debate, but yes, there is a lot of focus which has come up across moving to the tier two cities, which comes up with a lot of talent as such, right? So it's not that the people were earlier migrating only to the tier one cities because they were getting those jobs. Now the focus has changed, and where the GCCs are also thinking that, okay, why to go into the tier one cities only? Why not to tap the talent which is happening, which is across the India as such? So that has changed a lot. So one of the things which is happening, a pivotal thing is the foster the innovation, right? So leverage India's vast talent pool. That's what was not happening earlier. Now we were only focusing on one side of the uh, country. Now it has been that, okay, yeah, we have a vast talent pool. Why not go to the each of these things, cities, and take and create the center of excellence rather than just a delivery center of excellence for the specific technologies. Maybe the headquarters or the main center is in tier one city, but they are having the satellite centers across the tier two cities where they are bringing and focusing on the specific technology and functional areas as such. uh, Drive R&D. That's the focus which should be there. It should not be only the delivery focus areas. We are have a lot of talented pool. We have been working with a lot of industries across the globes, across the universities which have been happening it. So why not to focus on the R&D side? And the important is ensure resilience, right? So act as a strategic resilience hub rather than being just to be an archived as a build to robust digital infrastructure. So that's what I felt, is to foster innovation, drive the R&D growth, which can be done with the vast talent which we have in India, and ensure resilience is the something which I thought.
So I think you rightly brought about a point about Pune. So from a cybersecurity perspective, I know other GCCs are also there in Pune, and Pune has all set with whether you talk about talent, whether you talk about the government infrastructure, or the academia kind of a collaboration. It's all there. Especially from a cybersecurity perspective, what do you see as a compelling Pune is bringing in? I know you're working a lot with some of these corporations and the government as well. So it'll be good if you could throw some light on this.
So Pune, I've been brought up in Pune, so I have a bit bias against Pune. So well, talk about it. But Pune offers a secure, well-connected, and talent-rich base for, I would say, irrespective of only on the cybersecurity, it's across the capabilities. I would say has cost advantage. First of all, end-to-end product ownership is the potential which we do have in Pune as a capability. The 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 pipeline which we talk about, right? Why the GCCs or any other companies which should start up a center in Pune is the university pipelines, right? So you talk about any top level universities, we have it in Pune. Uh, and cybersecurity being the niche area, I'm working with a couple of universities where they are focusing on cybersecurity as an academia, right? So we do have a lot of talent pool, and doing a lot of collaboration with them. So that's where I felt Pune gives a good baseline for the companies who want to set up their centers for the cybersecurity focus. Um, Tier one capabilities at a tier two cost, right? So as I mentioned, that the vast talent pool and the cost for sure the CFO focus on the cost part, right? So for them it's like, okay, we are getting a tier one talent at the tier two cost. That's cherry on top for them. And coming with a product and a platform R&D mindset as such, right? So you talk about any of the companies, I am sure we have a lot of product companies who have a base in Pune and a very good talent pool. So people don't want, once they are in Pune, they don't want to leave Pune, right? So if we can have an opportunities for them within Pune, that's something which can be thought by the GCCs which are planning to come to Pune as such.
Okay. No, thank you for this. That definitely makes a distinction for Pune. And Maratha Chamber is also spending a lot of work on the cybersecurity training and seeing how this could done also with the US consulate. So, coming back to the next point, which I would like to kind of understand more from you, in some more differentiation between a secure GCC, merely from a compliant one, what difference that matters to the CXOs in US and UK and Europe? Does it make any difference to them?
Yeah, for sure. When you talked about the compliance part as such, and the company which call them as a secure, right? So there is a big difference. I would let me quote it in this way, right? So when you talk about a compliant GCC tells a regulator, right? So that's what they are focusing on. We followed all the rules, right? So that's what they come up. We followed all the rules and we are compliant to what you are asking for. Whereas a secure GCC confidently shows to their board, right, saying, okay, we protected our brand, we protected our customers and our future, even when the rule book hasn't caught up. So this is something which is a mindset change which happens, right, when we talk about a compliance and a secure one. So that's what I feel that gives the CXOs and CISOs a much more confidence as such, right? So when you talk about US, UK or like Europe, any of the CXOs they want to set it up. The first thing which is most important for them is the brand and the trust risk, right? So when we talk about CXOs, compliance doesn't stops the breaches, right? They are aware, right? Even if we are compliant, that will not stop us from the breaches which can happen. But a secure GCC actively reduces the reputation risk what a company can have on, right? Because of the lot of cyber attacks and exploits which can happen on this thing. The other thing is like confidence to the offshore high value work, right? So that's more important when we talk about the secured GCCs being there. They feel that the center which they have been developing offshore is more secure. Then they are more willing to I would say move their core IP development to the offshore center. Earlier they were a bit hesitant, saying that okay, we are moving our IPs, we are moving our regulated data processing. What if something goes wrong? But when we give that confidence to them, that brings a lot of change in the mindset, and that's what we get to know into the core development of the IP products as well. And the other important part is the customer assurance, right? So that if you are not having that capability, that okay, you are enough secured to make sure that the data are being protected of the customers and the IPs which have been protected, that gives more confidence to the CXOs and CISOs that okay, yes, we can. Why not to give more uh, core development or the niche areas to the offshore centers.
Yeah. No, no, thank you so much. And since Shitosh for this, and since we're mentioning about compliance here, and I do see data is a new crown jewel, and I should bring that point with you because you're an expert in this area. So, how should prospective GCCs design their data governance? Mostly about localization, encryption, access controls. You really spoke about GDPR, and are there any minimum data control practices that can give comfort to the EU or UK clients?
So that's actually a pretty interesting question, and it's like important when we talk about the data compliance, and because as you rightly mentioned, data is the new oil which we talk about, right? And that's the core part of anything, whichever area we are talking about. People are working to protect the data as such. So before jumping into the tooling part, I would say it's the threat as a regulated asset, data, right? So when we talk about being treating the data as a regulated asset, that's more important when we focus on the GCC's part, right? So few of the things which I felt is like foundation principle for the data governance as such. So instead of moving into the layer, other areas, it's a foundation, right? So when we are taking the care of the data itself, why not to structure the data or the classify the data at the source itself, right? Rather than we know that okay, what is the PII data, as you mentioned, the GDPR or HIPAA compliances, right? So why not to classify at the source itself, so we know that okay, what data need to be protected and which are the more confidential, and the PII data is there. Then while working on the coding practices as such, right? So we call it as a policy as a code, right? So unless and until we see the compliance part, or there is a basic compliance when we talk about the scanning the codes, working on the APIs, it's not as per the policy. It will not going into your code repository. That's where it will be stopped. So we are doing the effort at the source itself, rather than going into doing the things in the reactive way. We are doing it in the proactive way itself at the source. The other things I would say is they would focus, or we should focus, is the India specific compliances as well, right? We are coming up with a lot of data localization, encryption at the rest and in transit, right? So when we're dealing with the data, it's important that whenever we are storing the data, it is encrypted. While it is transmitting from one point to the other point, it also is being into the secure way of doing it. We can do it in multiple ways. There are a lot of protocols, the storage protocols which we can be followed. But yes, I will not go into the depth of that. But yes, at general, we should go into the encryption processes at the rest and the transit as such. And if at the end we should focus and demonstrate the compliance part, right? So as a capability center, whether we are compliance to the GDPR or any of the global compliances which is coming up, right? HIPAA, US coming up with a lot of compliances, we should make sure that okay, that is being there. Adherence to the international standards, right? So it's not only the data localization which we are focusing on, it should be the international standards which is being there, right? Whether whichever countries we are dealing with, whichever region which we are dealing with, there are a lot of compliances which we need to follow, and we should be adherence to that. And the most important to bring the confidence to everyone is the transparency and the communication, right? So where I felt this is something which is very cliche, but it's very important, right? How transparent and the communicate, how well we are communicating with our counterparts, how well we are communicating to our the stakeholders, saying that this is what we have been doing, these are the things which we have been taking from the measure, from the security point of view, data compliance point of view. So that builds the relation and the trust, and once you have that set up, I guess there is no end to what we can do with it from the offshore centers as such.
So, no, thank you so much. I think the related question would be when we're talking about trust in here, how, we're looking at India as a Viksit Bharat, for 20,000, 47. So, how the mid-sized companies that we're saying that we could bring them to India, how will that, from a GCC perspective, how do you see this?
So a lot of, as you rightly mentioned, there are a lot of traction happening right now for the mid-sized companies coming to India, and they see the value as such, right? So the basic thing is the value-driven approach, right? We should give that as a purpose. So, and whenever we are setting up, or any of the companies which are planning to set up the headquarters from moving to the India, is like lead with a purpose, right? So that's what's the focus. Architect for the resilience and treat data at the souvenir itself. That's so. These are the things, and the important part, right? The scale capability is there, but not just the headcount, right? So we need to make sure that okay, it's not the scaling capability which we have and we are increasing the headcount. No, that's not the purpose. But when we lead with the purpose, start with a purpose and not a payroll, that gives a lot of value driven approach, right? So we create a lot of value for an headquarters, right? So when we create this, the people see the value as such. So that's the important part, creating a value engine. uh, Treat data as a strategic asset from the day zero. Don't wait that okay, once we have set up everything and then we'll do all the compliance part. No, that's not the one which we should do. Start from the day zero itself. uh, Build up the capabilities, what we need to do at the whenever the developers, for example, when we are doing it, any of the core IP development or any of the product delivery, why not to focus on the developers itself, right? Start with the bottom line itself, saying this is what we need to do, these are the certain compliances, these are the areas which we are focusing on, these are the threat which is happening. So what should be done to stop at the zero level itself, rather than going into the stage where it's much costly and difficult to stop those issues which is happening in this thing. And the important part is the institutionalize the learning and the storytelling, because that's important, right? When we talk about the learning capabilities, we know there is a lot of capability talent pool in India, and there is still a gap, right? So how to make sure that the gap is being filled? So make sure that we have a learning curve around it. Capability blueprints are already there. We have a lot of DevSecOps or localization AIs, chat GPTs, and everything is been coming up. So how to make sure that we have that capability blueprint ready itself, so that our workforce is being learning in that direction. And storytelling to inspire, right? So when we talk about the storytelling, it's to inspire and to tell the success story, right? what we achieved, what how we achieved, what were the struggles and how we resolved it. And then once we start telling those storytellings to the headquarters and everyone, people start buying these things, and they come up and have we go and start with what we are looking.
No, no, thank you so much, Ashutosh. It has really been a very enriching discussion. Very, I would say, on a lighter side, what's your favorite hack?
So I will say it is the communication is the favorite hack, right? So it's a cliche, it's a basic thing, but to communicate, right? So to make sure that okay, how well you are communicating, and if it is has to be over communicate, I don't hesitate to over communicate with my all my stakeholders.
Okay. No, thank you so much, Ashutosh. And I really enjoyed the conversation. It was so spotlighted about India's stand at the heart of global GCC conversation, the inspiring businesses worldwide to consider India as the next, growth hub.
And it was lovely interaction, right? So thanks for having me again, and best of luck. You're doing a great job, right? You are connecting all the GCC leaders and everyone together, and uh, rather than the person who wants to start or the companies who want to start, they don't have to start reinventing the wheels, right? So we have learned from our mistake. It's not always to learn from your mistake, learn from other mistakes as well, right? So thanks for this initiative.
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you so much once again, Ashutosh. And for the viewers, thanks for tuning in to this special episode of Bhoom of Bharat. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights on the ideas and innovations shaping our world. If you have any thoughts or stories to share on this topic, we would love to hear from you. You could connect with me on LinkedIn, SRK Game Changers, or drop your questions on our website, srkgamechangers.com. Until next time, namaste from Boom of Bharat.